This conversation was so important that I actually invited Sam here in person to talk about somatics, all about somatics. We're going to do a quick Q&A, and I'm going to really just bring the most important pieces and the most powerful pieces for you, because this is where we do nervous system. This is where we do resiliency. This is where really the entire curriculum is coming together in this very important piece, focusing on somatics. Sammy Barrett is a certified somatics practitioner for the female nervous system, which is very important. We'll talk about in a moment because, like we've learned, you're not tiny men. And so I'm going to ask Sam, I call her Sam. I'm going to ask Sam. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask Sam some really, I think, super important questions about somatics, and she's just going to give it to us straight up. So, Sam, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What is somatics for the female nervous system?
Yes, it's a mouthful is what it is. But I would say on a practical level, it's education and resources to help you understand your unique female physiology so that you can attune to it, just in order to build capacity and resilience for the chaos of life.
Capacity and resilience. Wow. And there's always chaos in life.
Yes. And I have to say, like, on an alchemical level, because I got to get like a little witchy with it, it's an invitation into the depth of your feminine wisdom. And it's a reclamation of your body as your own, no longer needing to outsource. And it's a remembrance of your power.
Which is something probably all of us need.
Yeah.
A reminder in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And we've dipped into this curriculum. I think a lot of women are maybe experiencing a little bit of that for the first time. And that's what somatics is going to now take that next level into.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What are women, I'm looking at my notes here, what are women supposed to actually do when they're told by providers to just get rid of stress on their fertility journey? Like how, that's the number one most infuriating thing that we're told. How do we do that?
Right.
Is that possible?
Why didn't I think of that?
Right.
Just get rid of my
Let's
stress.
just do that.
Yeah, I think that can feel very disheartening when you're told, because I think there's certain times that you can reevaluate relationships, maybe some work, some habits that you can shift that help you reduce the amount of stress. But for the most part, we have to go to work. We have to take care of the day to day. And so I think if you're using a lot of energy to like get rid of your stress, what ends up happening is you get in a loop of stressing out about your stress, and which is just more stress.
Because you shouldn't be stressing. So when you feel stressed, then you're stressing about stressing.
It's a vicious cycle. And so I don't tell women that I work with to de-stress. I just help them build the capacity to handle that stress.
Right.
And what's unique to the female nervous system is that our capacity for stress actually shifts throughout our cycle based on our heart rate variability. So in certain times of our cycle, we have more capacity for stress. And then at other times, the capacity is very low. We can kind of even know what those phases are probably when we have less tolerance. And there's things we can do to support ourselves when we have that less stress. And it's oxytocin. It's using oxytocin to make up for the lack of capacity you have for stress. And it's not hard. It's simple. It's not like these long, complicated practices. It's like, oh, you need more oxytocin. It's really as simple as that, which to me is like,
wow.
Like
it's so good.
You know what I mean? Like that's not, instead of like, oh, okay, what do I have to add to my to-do list?
Yep.
It's just, you need more oxytocin, and that's going to be different for everybody.
Yep. Amazing. And that's where this personalized approach comes. I mean, really, that's what we're doing here. That's what everything in, I think, female health and fertility is so needed. So why are we so stressed? What do you think is a contributing factor? Okay, yes, trying to conceive, obviously infertility, we honor that, we see that. But why do you think women are so stressed?
I mean, we could talk about that for 8 hours, but for the context of this conversation, aside from like systemic and cultural issues of why women are so stressed, I mean, I think it's because they're disconnected from their bodies. And this is a very common yet not normal experience, but it's been normalized in our society and even praised to override your body's signals. And to achieve and be productive. And like, that's the idea and picture of success. And our idea of success is based on the male body, on the 24-hour rhythm rather than our 28-day rhythm, which is so different. And I would say that we've been taught that our body is an adversary because of that, and even something to conquer.
Wow.
And what I love about somatics for the female nervous system is that it helps us create enough safety to finally start to come home to our body and to establish that safety and to understand its sacredness, like the sacredness of our body, and to be able to soften and just like land in our bones, like be in our body and even get curious instead of judgmental, because that's usually what happens. We judge our productivity it's like, we're not meant to be on a schedule that the rest of the world actually operates on. It's just, it's in direct conflict with our biology.
Wow. Does that also translate or maybe feel like this idea that we're not doing enough, that we are not doing it good enough or consistent enough?
Something my husband tells me, which I love, is like, whenever I hear you say that you're not doing enough, he's like, it actually means you're doing too much. And that stays with me. And anytime I hear a woman say it, I'm like, oh, so you're doing too much, actually.
Yep. I love that. I want you all to really, really feel that.
Like, you're not doing enough. You're likely doing too much.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that's really powerful right there. So infertility specifically, when we're on this journey, how can somatics for the female nervous system help? Yeah.
So besides just like building capacity for stress, which I think is probably the biggest thing with supporting women along their fertility journey, is being able to attune to your innate rhythms. Like, you have rhythms and your nervous system ebbs and flows throughout the month, throughout the day. And we have this idea that regulation or calm is what we're trying to achieve. There's that achieving again. And really, I don't really even like the word regulation. I like to replace that with resilience, because you want to be able to adapt to stress. Stress isn't bad. Chronic stress isn't great. That's why we want to build capacity to handle it. But being able to adapt to stress, okay? You experience a stressful event and then you kind of come back to that state of more balance. And then, you just want to be able to adapt and have capacity. And also just being in relationship to your womb, aside from the biological purpose of reproduction. I think that is probably like the most important thing, I would say, for the women who are on this journey and the women that I end up working with, is because we want to repair what is sometimes a lifetime of rupture with our bodies. Like, there's this love-hate relationship with your womb. You want your womb to produce. And when it doesn't, it's, of course, you don't like your body. Like, of course. It's just like, take a moment for that. Of course you feel that way. And I think that with this work, you can begin to repair that relationship with your body, but especially your womb, which is, it's everything.
It is everything. So adaptability, you mentioned, right? What if we just go on vacation? And aren't we just kind of reducing stress and just letting go of things and go on vacation and have a nice margarita on the beach?
Right.
Isn't that dealing with our stress?
That sounds nice, but most Americans don't even like go on vacation long enough to actually receive the benefits. And I can count how many times I personally, and many people I know, where you sit on the beach, you're like, okay, now I'm going to relax. And now the relaxing. And relax. Like, wait, how do I relax?
Right.
Your body, it's just like, your body's not just going to all of a sudden, you're in more in the sunlight. Like, those things can be nice. But guess what? When you go home, all of the things that you were stressed out about are still there. And to me, you're going to go back, and it's probably going to feel even more extreme when you return home.
Yep.
Because you didn't build capacity. Like, you had the de-stress, that cathartic experience. And then you go back into your regular life, and you're like, oh, now I'm just dreading this. And now I want to go back to that.
You need a vacation from your vacation.
Yeah, totally.
So you didn't really.
So no, that's not a sustainable option.
Darn it. I thought that might work. Yeah. It's tempting to think that and tell ourselves that, right? But really, we're not building that capacity at all by just escaping.
No. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's escaping.
So that brings me to then this next idea of people pleasing. All right. So this is a big part of my story.
I can't relate.
Right. No idea anything about this. So What would you say to a woman who has spent almost likely a lifetime people pleasing, and how does that affect her nervous system in relation to trying to conceive?
I think that people pleasing and the chronic fawn response gets a lot of crap, as it should, but also I think it's important that first we actually thank our body for its intelligent and protective response, because that's what it is. And to me, what I would do with my client is address the chronic shame that lives beneath the layers of the people pleasing, so that they can speak their truth without guilt, without being attached to the outcome of how people receive it. That's a big thing, which is like, you can't control how people receive you speaking your truth. That's not something you can control, nor should you try to. Strengthening their boundaries and even knowing how to understand what they want and how to communicate that. And also gain discernment. I think that's the most important thing, is gaining discernment to know what is meant for you and what is not meant for you, whether it's relationships or any decision in life. Like, to me, when you're people pleasing, you are making a decision based on what other people want from you instead of what you actually want. So when you start to tap in, what do I actually want? You have no idea because you've never even considered that, because you're just keeping the peace.
Right.
So yeah, that definitely takes time, but the reward that you get when you no longer people please, or at least can catch it and see, it's remarkable.
Awareness of that. Awareness is something that I define as a success in so many women that we work with. Awareness of when you're doing certain things that you're talking about, people pleasing. You may not be able to change it in that moment because it's been happening for a lifetime, but you're aware, and that's huge.
Yeah. And I would even say, like, the next step to that is, I think some women get stuck in the hyper awareness and they can conceptualize and intellectualize how they're feeling and how everything came to fruition and where they are and why they're there because of this. But then it's a whole, like, the next level to that is creating safety in the body to feel, to embody and metabolize what you intellectualize. Because I think as women, we're so good at that, like explaining, over explaining. But then it's like, okay, but what in your body is telling you that you feel that way? Like, what sensation, like, how is your sensation being expressed in your body that tells you, oh, I feel this way?
Wow. I'm going to go home and think about that one. I mean, honestly, this is somatics. So what we're doing here, what you just did there, like that's the work of somatics. It's very powerful because the hypervigilance is real.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And all of these things I've talked about, like, this isn't just like only research. I've been through each of these things for years chasing, so it's like, I have experienced each and every one of them. The whole spectrum.
So, for the women who have done all the things for the nervous system, they've done the therapy, they've done the calm, they've done the yoga, they've done that, that calming work. Yeah. How would this be any different?
As someone who did yoga and taught yoga for over a decade, I definitely understand that. And what I would say is that the somatics for the female nervous system is just that it's based on the female nervous system, and most somatics and nervous system work out there is based on the male body, or like you said before, on the fact that we're small men and we're not. Our biology is so much more complex, and that needs to be honored. And so, it's something as simple as like, oh, just being told to de-stress. Well, that's not going to work for us. We have to build the capacity to handle it. And how a man's nervous system would deal with stress is different than how ours is, because every day it's going to be different. Right. And I would say the big thing is that less is more, because it really is less and more. It's not about adding something to your to-do list. It's about taking your life, your daily life, and re-sensualizing it. Something else that we do that not a lot of people do is prioritizing pleasure instead of treating it like it's a reward.
Oh, wow. Tell us more about that.
So many of us treat pleasure like, oh, once I do this, then I can, and I'm not just talking about
earning it.
Totally. Okay. Yeah. You don't need to earn it. It's actually like the pathway to a more resilient nervous system. For women, we need pleasure. We need oxytocin. And because our lifestyles are so dopamine driven,
Yeah.
dopamine squelches oxytocin. And so most of the time, if we have a more dopamine driven lifestyle, we need more oxytocin. And certain times in our cycle, we need even more because it helps to balance that lower stress capacity that I was talking about before. So, and I'm not talking about sexual pleasure. I mean, that's great, but I'm talking about sensual pleasure, which brings me to the next part is somatic touch, which is just touch. It is probably one of the most, if not most important ways that we can actually heal the nervous system. And some of us might be like, oh, that's great. And others you might feel like an instant restriction.
Right.
And like even just our hands are built with so many sensory nerves that literally just doing something as simple as this and feeling like your own body and just like getting curious and just starting there. It doesn't have to be with another person and it doesn't have to be sexual. It's just like connecting like, oh, I have a body, which sounds really silly, but sometimes we forget because we live from here up. And there's so much power in that. And then I would say the last thing, like if you've tried all the things, co-regulation. So healing amongst other women is like a biological need, other safe women. I mean, I think we've all probably can think of one time when we've been in a circle of women or in a group of women, whether you're sitting around eating food, laughing together, or, you know, doing something and you leave and you're like, oh, wow, that was so healing. And it actually was.
It's medicine.
Yeah, it's like literal medicine.
And it increases progesterone.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is part of the whole balance and connection of everything.
Yeah.
And if you would have asked me 5 years ago if I thought that somatics would be how we help women to get pregnant, I would have brushed it off and said, okay, that's not really necessary because we have data, we have numbers, we have labs, we have, you know, all of that concrete on paper information. And now it's a non-negotiable.
And what's cool is that the gender gap in research is starting to close. I'm very lucky. My teacher, Veronica Rotman, and you know, her teachers, Dr. Kayla Osteroff, are trying to close that gender gap and research that we just weren't a part of. So we didn't know these things. But also, like somatics of the female nervous system is as old as time. It's like we're remembering, we're going back to like ancient ways of being in the feminine body, which is essentially just like attuning to this cycles and seasons of nature outside. Like that's also happening within.
Wow. Incredible. Explore, learn, unlearn, relearn, and be open because it is so, so powerful. And the shifts that we see when somatics for the female nervous system is brought in is just, that's why we're here, because it's undeniable.